didn't come in like a storm. You just showed up and kept me warm. No grand lines, no sweeping tune, just steady hands and afternoons. We never raced, we never ran, we simply walked hand in hand. No need for fireworks above. You gave me nothing loud, just love. You don't fix the things I hide. You sit with me, you stay beside. When I retreat into my doubt, you're the one who stays throughout. You hold my fears like fragile glass and never ask them to move fast. You don't demand, you don't shove. You offer nothing loud, just love. No roses thrown across the floor, no poems carved on distant shores, just simple ways you show you care, like being here, like breathing air. It isn't loud, it isn't grand, but it's the peace I understand. And now I know what I've dreamed of. It isn't noise, it's quiet love. We won't make a movie scene, but you see parts no one has seen. You know my silence, know my song, and never rush to prove me wrong. We fold the days like favorite clothes, familiar, soft, and full of prose. I used to think that love must shove, but now I know it's stillness. No shining lights, no big unveil, no dancing in a wedding veil, just you and me in fading sun, still choosing us when day is done. It isn't loud, it isn't wide, but it's enough to stand inside. And every moment rises up a kind of quiet, boundless love. Let them chase the sound and show we found something deep below, a kind of calm, a gentle cold, and nothing breaks but we still fall. No grand applause, no perfect script, just fingertips and whisper lips. And yes, that fold but never shut, because we found that kind of love. Was a mess, I won't deny. A broken frame, a silent cry. You saw the cracks, you saw the storm, but still you came and kept me warm. You didn't try to rescue me, you just sat down and let me be. And in that stillness joy began to fade, you never turned away. No fireworks, no grand parade, just the kind of love that stayed when I was lost, afraid and afraid. You stayed anyway, 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 and didn't mind. You traced my flaws with steady hands and never asked me to pretend. We weren't the dream, we weren't the goal, but we were real, we made it whole. And every time I tried to stray, you found a way to make me stay.
I never said the words in time, never knew how love could rhyme with silent scars and sleepless nights. But still you made the shadows light. You didn't chase a perfect view, you saw the mess and still came through. I broke, I ran, I lost my way. You didn't leave, you stayed anyway.
When I pushed the world away, when I said too much or nothing, you still chose to stay. No promises to save the day, just presence that refused to sway through storms I caused, through all I weigh. You stayed anyway, 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 someday I'll learn to love you right, to hold your peace, to share your fight. But till that day I kneel and pray for strength to say, please stay, like you did anyway. We've had the nights we barely spoke, the quiet rooms, the hearts that broke. But through the space and all the strain, we always found our way again. You don't fix the things I fear, you just stay close and hold them near. And that's the kind of love that stays, not in loud songs, but quiet ways.
Dust on things we used to chase. The shine is left, but not the grace. We've grown in ways we never planned. With tired eyes and weathered hands. You don't ask for me to shine, you're just glad that I am mine. And still through all the fades away, I look at you, and still we stay. Pretend we're always okay, but even so, still we stay.
We've watched the seasons rearrange. We've both been tired of all the change. But when the world turns turns fast and cruel. You still make safety feel like rule. Not with promises or plans, but with your calm, forgiving hands. And every time I drift away, you gently pull, and still we stay. Still we stay through quiet fights, through long goodbyes and sleepless nights, through all the things we didn't say. We're still the ones who choose to stay, through hopes we held and had to lose, through years we didn't get to choose. And though our skies aren't always gray in storm or sun, still we stay. Let others chase what burns and flies. We'll build our home beneath the skies. With all that breaks and fades to clay, we'll hold the pieces, and still we'll stay. Still we stay, not out of need, but from a gentle, quiet creed. We're not the loud, dramatic play. We're the silence that chose to stay.
My walls you never climbed. You sat below and gave me time. You brought no keys, no grand design. You simply waited in the line. I spoke in riddles, lost in doubt, but you knew what I was about. You didn't knock, you didn't try. You just stayed. I never asked why. You never asked why I closed my door, why I don't speak the way I did before. You didn't search for reasons deep. You let me rage, you let me weep. And when the silence filled the sky, you stayed beside. You never asked why. I showed you scars I never named. You held my hand, refused to blame. You never tried to write the end. You just became my only friend. You saw the storm behind my eyes, but never once did you analyze. You just let broken pieces lie and stayed without asking why. Not every wound needs to be solved. Not every tear needs to be evolved. You knew that healing isn't fast. The love survives what others pass. You didn't chase the words I hid. You honored all the things I did. You stood through mess and didn't pry. You're the one who never asked why. You never asked why I fell apart, why I pulled back when I should start. You didn't treat my pain like shame. You never played the fixing game. You just stood still, let the time fly, and stay near me. You never asked why. And that's the kind of love I found. Not loud, not proud, not heaven bound, but quiet kind and true nearby, the one who stayed and never asked why. You don't bring me flowers every night, you don't always say the words just right, but you remember what I forget and hold the things I still regret. We don't write our names in stars, but I know exactly where you are. Not in the noise, not in display, but in the quiet, you always stay.
And that's the way we stay, not with fire, not with fame, but with hands that never stray, through the mess, through the gray. We don't promise we won't fall, but we always choose to call, even when the sky turns gray. That's the way. That's the way we stay. That's the way we stay. I've seen the world in many lights, but none of them could match your eyes. You don't try to be the cure, but somehow love you make me sure. Not of the world or of the end, but of this life you help me mend. And if I lose my voice someday, I hope you'll still know what I'd say. And that's the way we stay, with the real and not the play, with the hours that slip away, but still choosing not to stray. We don't need a perfect line, just your heart and hand in mine, through the dark, through disarray. That's the way. That's the way we stay. That's the way we stay.
We never said it would be smooth, but you were always in the room. Not as rescue, not as shield, but as someone who refused to yield.
And that's the way we stay, in the silence, in the fray, still leaning in, not walking away, with all the wrongs and all we weigh, still choosing love each day. That's the way. That's the way we stay.
I said so little, but you heard the quiet spaces in each word. You didn't ask for perfect lines, you waited slow, you gave me time. You never forced me into shape, you watched me bend, you let me break. And through the silence, day or week, you stayed right there when I couldn't speak. You write the language in my hands, you stayed when no one understands. You knew the tears I didn't cry, you held me close, you stayed nearby. And even when I looked away, you didn't ask, you didn't sway, you just kept standing by the creek, still loving me when I couldn't speak. couldn't speak. Words got stuck behind my chest, but you still saw me at my best. Not for the shine, not for the show, but for the things I didn't know. You traced the shadows on my face. You didn't rush to fill the space. And even in the hardest week, you still were love when I couldn't speak.
I wasn't easy, I closed the door. You knocked once, then and asked no more. You knew the quiet held its pain. You never begged for me to explain. You didn't need to have it clear. You chose to stay and just be near. And that's the kind of love I seek, the one that stays when I can't speak.
You read the silence like a song. You knew exactly where I'd gone. You didn't chase, you didn't plead. You simply saw what I might need. And when I felt too small, too weak, you stood your ground when I couldn't see.
Sounds when I couldn't speak.
So if the day comes once again, when all I have is silent rain, just sit with me, don't try to tweak, and love me still when I can't speak.
I've broken things I can't repair, left words hanging in the air. You've seen the worst, you've heard the lies, but never walked or said goodbye. You stayed through all the silent years, feel growing doubt and quiet tears. And though we've fallen more than once, you never made me prove my worth. You stayed through it all, when the world turned small, when we lost the sound, when we hit the wall. You never made me beg or crawl. You simply stood, you didn't fall. I don't know why, I don't know how, but you stayed through it all.
We never had the easy run, no fairy tales, no flawless sun. But when the dark began to scream, you held me like I'm still your dream. You didn't run when I grew cold. You didn't flinch when truth was told. And though I fought and pushed away, you loved me anyway.
Tired hands, late nights, I gave you storms, you gave me light.
I know no light, let's say.
You gave me calm when I lost fight. You never asked for more than real. You let me fall but helped me heal. I gave you ashes torn and small, but you stayed. Yeah, through it all.
You stayed through it all, when the silence called, when we lost the man, when we feared the fall. No need for grand romantic sprawl. You showed up when I dropped the ball. No questions asked, no need to stall. You just stayed through it all.
And if one day you need to break, know I'll be there wide awake to stay for you like you did for me. Through every storm, through every sea.
We never had a perfect start, just tangled steps and tender hearts. You came with calm, I came with storm, but somehow both of us felt warm. We didn't draw a perfect line, but every wrong still made you mine. And even when the path felt new, you never looked, you never flew.
with a heart that said I care. We never raced, we never rushed. We built a home where silence hushed. You didn't promise me the stars, you just showed up, you healed the scars. And every time I fell from view, you lit a trail back to you. I didn't need a hero, just someone real. You gave me room and space to feel. You never asked for perfection, only direction to where I hide when I feel too real. And that's the kind of love I feel. Steady hands on a broken wheel. No map, just you. When the world came unglued, when the storms grew loud and my mind withdrew, you never gave a list of rules. You never treated pain as fuel. You just stayed calm and pulled me through. I had no map, just you. If life redraws the lines we knew, if all the signs stop pointing true, I'll still walk on, lost in the blue. If I have no map, I still have you. I've seen my dreams fall out of view, watch days turn gray instead of blue. I've closed my heart, I've lost my sound, but somehow you still hang around. You never begged me to be bright, you stood beside me every night. And even when I broke into, the one I found was always you. It's still you. Through the quiet and the storm, when I'm cold and far from warm, when I fade into the dark, you still carry half my spark. No matter what I lose or do, when the noise fades, it's still you. My name in rooms too loud, felt small beneath the roaring crowd. But you don't need the shine or stage, you sit with me through every page. You've seen the chapters torn in half, you've heard the tears behind the laugh. And when they fade or walk right through, you're still the one who always knew. It's still you. All come and go when I'm quiet, moving slow. When I'm more shadow than light, you still hold my hand so tight. Through every version I breaks in two. If I forget what I once knew, just whisper low, remind me to. Through it all, it's still you.
Change the sky or promise days without goodbye. You only held me when I shook and read the parts no one else took. You didn't write a perfect song, you just kept showing up so strong. And in your silence I could see that love was never loud with me. It's the way you stay when I push you away, when I lose my name, when I curse the day. You don't leave, don't drift, don't run. You wait it out till morning comes, not with fire, not with rain, but the quiet way. You stay. You've watched me fall 100 times and held my truths beneath my crimes. You never asked me to be more than who I was the night before. You see the rust, you know the wear, but still you sit, you still care. And though the world may turn to gray, you never leave, you stay.
You never wrote me poems, but you memorized my moods. You never said forever, but you always came through. You didn't need to fix me, just saw the war inside and chose to walk beside me instead of trying to hide.
It's the way you stay when I go astray, when I close my eyes and fade away. You don't ask me to explain, you just whisper through the pain. And somehow in your own soft way you stay. So if they ask me what love is, I won't point to stars or bliss. I'll say it's the arms that never sway. It's the way you stay. You stay.
You don't smile like in the start, but I still hear the beating heart. In every glance, in every sigh, we made it here. You and I, we've seen our seasons twist and turn, watch the bridges blaze and burn. But every time we nearly fall, you find a way to catch it all.
Even when we break apart, you still carry half my heart. Even when we lose our way,
ways I can't explain. The ache, the joy, the quiet strain. But you don't ask for every word. You listen close to what's unheard. No perfect lines, no tidy truth, just growing old and holding youth. I never thought I'd understand, but here you are, still holding my hand. We don't paint pictures just to post. We fight, we cry, we bleed the most. But in the dark you still show grace. You never needed a flawless face. We fall, we rise, we lose, we bend. But this ain't fake, this is the end of fairy tales. It's better when you love me raw.
Even when we're out of rhyme, you still give me all your time. Even when I close my door, you wait outside once more. Even when I lose the thread, you don't leave me there instead. You're the storm, you're also the zen. You love me. I may not always get it right, but you still hold me through the night. So if I fall or if I fail, just whisper low. You're not too afraid.